Welcome everyone, and I'm really glad to have you all here for this actually first tech talk about the scripting API in WorkAdventure. So today we are going to do some live coding. I hope I won't be hit too hard by the demo effect, but yeah, I'm going to try that. First of all, a quick presentation about the scripting API, and then we're going to jump into live coding mode. So, scripting maps. What is it used for? Well, in WorkAdventure, you are adding scripts inside maps to make them more dynamic. Okay, you all know WorkAdventure. You all know that we use tiled to design the maps, which are JSON files. At some point, we may want to add some interactivity into those maps, like a door that is opening or closing, a doorbell, a quiz, whatever. And so in order to do that, we have the scripting API. And one thing that is really important to understand is that the scripting API is actually running on, the scripting API is actually running on the client side. So it's running inside the browser of the users. It is not running on the server side. To understand the impact of this, well, just imagine we have distinct roles. Okay, there is WorkAdventure developers. That's me, my team, the community that is contributing to WorkAdventure. And then we have map designers or map developers that can add scripts inside their own maps. And finally, we have users that are using the maps. When we built the scripting API, the challenge for us was that we want people to be able to add any kind of code here, but we don't want that code to be able to break WorkAdventure or to have access to too many parts of WorkAdventure. There may be private information here, like, I don't know, the email address of people connecting. There are also some things I don't want to expose. I don't want, for instance, to expose the game engine, which is Phaser 3, because if at some point we move to Phaser 4, I don't want to break the scripts developed here. So I need to control what is exposed to this scripting API. And my main need was to be able to isolate the contexts. So the script should run into a separated context and be able to talk to WorkAdventure through a clean API, and it should not be able to break WorkAdventure. And to do this, well, in HTML, when we are on the client side, there is something that is really cool. It's iframes. Iframes are actually web pages running inside web pages, and they have their own context. And in good circumstances, if done properly, they cannot communicate, they cannot change too much the calling web page. So basically how it works, when you have your map here in WorkAdventure, here is the browser. When you write a script, there is a small 1 pixel by 1 pixel iframe that is hidden inside the map, and it's going to contain the code of your map, the code you are going to write. So you are going to write the code in JavaScript or in something that can compile to JavaScript, like TypeScript. I'm usually using TypeScript. And this code that is inside the iframe here is going to talk to WorkAdventure through what we call the post message API. The post message API, it's a standard feature of all the browsers enabling communication between iframes and the main page. So how it works, if you're not aware of it, basically from one iframe I can write something like window.postMessage. This is standard. It's available in all browsers. And on the other end, in another iframe, I can simply listen to the message and act upon it. But it would be a bit complex for the users to use this API. I would have to document the kind of messages that can be sent. So what we are doing is we are hiding the complexity of the calls to window.postMessage behind an API that is friendlier. This is what we call the scripting API. So how does it work? Here is a quick sample. Just imagine we have a map. And when I'm working on this zone here, I want the current time to be displayed. Well, to do this, I simply can write WA, which is the global WorkAdventure object that is available via the scripting API, .room.onEnter layer. So I'm going to listen when I enter inside the layer that is named the clock, which is basically a small layer that is just here. Oops. And sorry. And when my worker walks here and enters here, I'm executing this function, which is basically opening a pop-up, and it's writing it is and the time which I get from the date class in JavaScript. And so I'm able to display the time here. It's a very trivial example, but it is showing at least that we can add additional features in maps quite easily, as long as we know how to do some basic scripting in JavaScript. We can do a lot of things in with the scripting API. I've got a list of things. It's not complete, but it will give you a good idea. The first thing we can do is we can read a map. So from the script, we can access the JSON file of the map. And the format of a map in tile is not that difficult. So I can read the list of layers available, the list of properties, things like that. I can also show and hide layers dynamically. So I can hide a complete layer in tile, or I can show one. I can edit a layer, which means given a given layer, I can put some tiles on it. I can also load a tile set if the tile set is not loaded. If I want to display some kind of sprite in the map and the map is not loading them by default, I can do that on the fly. I can track the current player movements. So when my player is moving, I can be notified that the player moves and react on this movement. I can play sounds. I can open websites using co-websites, which are websites that are opening from the right, or I can integrate websites directly into maps. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. I can open pop-ups. I can add items in the game menu. When you open the game menu, I can add new items here. I can also add items in the contextual menu. This one is new. We added that like 1 month ago. When you click on someone, there is a menu opening, and inside this menu, you can add custom things, like, I don't know, give a slap, whatever. and there are many, many more features. But, well, it gives you a kind of a good idea of what you can do and how you can extend WorkAdventure. There is one thing that is really, really important to understand. Because the scripting API is running inside the browser, it is running inside the browser of everyone connected, and the changes are performed locally, which means that if I decide to hide or to show a layer, it's going to be hidden or shown on the current browser, but it's not going to be applied automatically to everybody. Okay? By default, the actions I'm performing inside the scripting API are local. They are not shared with the other players. And of course, we need a way to share data and events with the other players, because after all, WorkAdventure is a communication mechanism. So we need a way to share some state between all the browsers. And to do this, we have a special concept which is called variables. And what variables are variables that are shared automatically between all the browsers. So inside the scripting API, if I write wa.state, the state object contains all the variables. So here I can put whatever I want, for instance, foo equal bar. And so this will be applied inside the iframe in WorkAdventure. What happens when I do this? Automatically, the foo variable is sent to the WorkAdventure game. And when WorkAdventure receives this variable, it will send it to the server, and the server will dispatch this variable to all the people that are in the same room as I am. And so basically, it's going to be dispatched to another user, and the user will dispatch the information to the scripting A-frame that is loaded here. And here, I'm getting, finally, the same variable as the user that sets the variable. So by using this mechanism, I'm able to dispatch some data to all users. And there is one additional thing that is really interesting, is that you can listen to variable changes using wa.state.onVariableChange. So here, if I pass the name of a variable, I will be notified of changes automatically each time someone modifies this this variable. So it's kind of very simple. Well, simple to use. The mechanism behind is kind of complex because the data is hopping a lot of time. But in the end, it makes something that should be easy to use for, I hope, developers. There is one gotcha I'd like to talk about, and something usually users are struggling with. It is that a map can embed several scripts. Let me give you an example. We can have a script here, the basic script, but inside the map, we can also open a co-website or embed a website inside the map. And this, and this are iframes. So on this map, I can actually have 3 different iframes. 3 different iframes, which means that, I have 3 contexts. So if I am setting a variable in JavaScript here, it will not be available here, nor here, right? Okay. The only way I can send data from here to here is either using the post message API, or if I want to go easy, to use the variables in wa.state. In this case, of course, it will be shared with everybody, but usually this is what people want, actually. So, enough talk, and let's do some live coding. I'm going to try to make a simple demo, and in this demonstration, I'd like to build a voting system. So we will have a map with 4 areas, red, green, blue, and yellow. And to vote with your worker, you will move inside one zone, and dynamically, I want the number of votes to be displayed inside an iframe. So let me show you what I want to try. Here, I've got my map. I'm going to load it inside tile. Okay, so this is my test map. I'm going to zoom a bit on it, right? All right. So I've got 4 zones, A, B, C, D. And when I walk inside the zone, what I would like to do is here display the results. So the map is already built, but there is no scripting yet. And I'm going to start it right now. The map is built upon the starter kit, the map starter kit that we are publishing in WorkAdventure. So usually when you use a map starter kit, you can simply type npm run start from the root of the map, and it's going to start a test web server to test this locally. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to wait a little bit for, come on. Okay. Demo effect. Okay. Here we are good to go. So let's test the map. Here we are. So you see we have the 4 zones, and on top here we have an embedded iframe which is actually containing the results. So what I want is, if I move in A here, I want to have 1. If I move in B, I want 1 vote to be counted for B, and so on. All right? So let's have a quick look at the map first. You can see in the map that, well, whoops, sorry, here we go. First thing first, inside the map, in the map properties, I added a script tag which is loading script.js. So this is the JavaScript file I'm going to load that will contain the code of the map. The thing is, inside my files here, there is actually no script.js. Why is that? Well, I could put one, but I want to use TypeScript because I like very much things that are strongly typed. And basically what I did is I put something called Webpack, and Webpack is compiling index.ts inside the file script.js, okay? So basically, I don't see a script.js, still the file does exist. And by editing index.ts, I'm actually writing my script. And because this is TypeScript here, I have actually auto-completion and a lot of things like, for instance, if I write wa.space, I'm getting auto-completion here, which is awesome. And I can do things like, I don't know, calling the chat and maybe sending a chat message, whatever. You get it. So this is why I try to use TypeScript as much as possible instead of vanilla JavaScript. So what I want to do, well, first of all, I want to share the votes with everybody, so I'm going to use variables. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 4 variables, which are called vote A, vote B, vote C, and vote D. In order to create a variable, I need to put myself here on a layer which is an object layer. I cannot put a variable inside a tile layer. So everybody has a floor layer usually. And to create a variable, you simply use the special point object. And the variable, well, just a minute, I'm going to click here. There. The variable must have a type which is variable. You give it a name, and you can also give it custom properties. Default, it's the default value it takes. So we start at 0 votes. And persist is a special value which is going to tell to WorkAdventure to save the value of the variable in case there is no one in the room. We don't really need it for a voting system, actually. But if you want, once there is nobody in a room, inside the room is closed, and all the variables are basically put inside the bin and lost, unless you put the persist property. And in this case, the variables are going to be saved inside a database and will be restored when you come back. So, yeah, sorry. sorry. Oh, there are a number of questions, and I have a hard time trying to catch up. I'll have a look at this after, and I see that Valdo is helping. So thanks a lot, Valdo. So, sorry. So I already have my 4 variables. What I'm going to do is I'm going to simply increase the variable when I am walking inside zone A. So when I'm walking inside this zone, I want to increase vote A. What I'm going to do here, it's pretty easy. WA.room. On the room object, I've got an enter layer. So when I'm entering layer A, then what we are going to do is we are going to increase the value of the variable. So wa.state.vote A, and I'm going to increase it. And at this point, TypeScript is going to complain because TypeScript does not know the type of vote A, and I typed it as unknown, which means, well, basically I don't know. So I need to tell TypeScript explicitly, okay, be a nice boy, I know that this is a number. So I'm going to cast this as a number, and then we can increase it with plus plus. And well, this should be enough. So I'm going to go back to my test page, refresh this, and when I move here, the variable should be increased. Now, the problem is that it is a variable, and how can I check the value of a variable? We have some kind of a cool feature which is not coming by default with WorkAdventure, but which is available through what we call the scripting API extra. So let me explain. By default, there are a number of features in the scripting API, and we added some more inside a separate package. So if you go into the package.json file here, you can see that I'm loading as a dependency scripting API extra, and in index.ts, I'm actually bootstrapping it. And when the scripting API extra is started, I'm getting a number of additional features, and one of them is that I can use the spatial configuration layer. If I put my variables inside the configuration layer, rather than in any other layer here, they will automatically appear, when I click on the menu inside the configure the room section here, which is new actually. You don't have that by default. So if I click on configure the room, you can see I've got all my variables displayed, and actually each time I'm entering, I'm increasing the vote variable, which is pretty cool. Also, one important thing, I told you that variables are shared, so you don't have to believe me. We'll open 2 browsers. Okay, so here is another user, and when the other user is entering, you can see, oh, Jesus, okay, wait, yes, we have a slight problem here. Okay, so you can see that variables are indeed shared between the environments, and yeah, you can see that they are indeed synchronized. All right. So what I did so far is increasing the vote when I'm entering the zone A. Of course, what I want to do is being able to decrease the vote when I'm leaving zone A. So I'm using on leave layer A, and I'm decreasing the vote. And what I what I'll do is I'll do exactly the same things for B, C, and D here. Okay, this is really stupid code. I could certainly do something more clever, but well, for the demo, I think you get the idea. I'll zoom a little bit so you can see better. All right. So what do we have? Let's refresh. Let's open the room. And now if I walk in, so you see, as I'm moving, the vote is counted towards D, C, B, or A. So yeah, it's already pretty cool actually. Now, what I want to do, of course, is being able to display the results of the votes inside this iframe here, which would be really, really cool. We could have, everybody could watch the value of the vote move in real time. So how can I do that? Well, it is not really, really that difficult. First of all, this iframe here is displayed because I did put I did put a square here. Its type is website, so it's going to open a website to the URL, which is results.html. And one thing that is really, really important, I'm adding the allow API property here. If I'm not doing that, the iframe here will not be allowed to use the WorkAdventure API. So let's have a look at this iframe here. Okay, the code is here, and well, it is really, really basic HTML. I even put the CSS directly into the page. So it is for a demo. Of course, you could want to do something much more well architectured, but for a demo, well, I did put everything here. One thing important is that I have to explicitly load the scripting API. So WA dot all the objects is available because I am loading this file which contains the WA object, right? And after that, I'm putting the script directly here. So this is directly JavaScript and not TypeScript. If I wanted to do some TypeScript, I would have to edit the webpack.config here and modify the entry point to have two entry points, one for the script and one for the script of the iframe. So I would need to modify the entry and the outputs here and do some webpack wizardry. This is, let's be honest, a pain. Yeah, do it only if you really need it. Setting up TypeScript correctly is like one of the worst developer experience you can have. So anyway, so I've got my script here, and finally I've got the HTML which is displaying the four poll bars. So I don't have anything special here, except I already have the update poll method available, thanks to Valdo. Basically, if I'm putting the number of votes in A, B, C, and D here, you will see that when I come back to the page here, I'm going to refresh things. All right. So I've got a function that is able to update the display and display things nicely and properly. So what I want to do, I want to listen to changes of variables, and each time a variable is changing, I want to update this. And this is actually quite easy, because if you remember correctly, I have inside wa.state a function which is called unvariable change, and that can listen to changes of a variable. So I'm going to listen to changes of variable A, and when there is a change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the update poll method with the value of the change. So basically here I'm getting past a value that I can put here as the result of vote A, but I also need to put the value of vote B, C, and D, and in order to have something that is actually symmetric, I'm going to use this like that. And what I will do is I'm going to listen to also variables on vote A, B, and C. And each time one of these variables is changing, I'm going to update the results. And finally, when I'm entering the page for the first time, I also need to update the results and to display the current results. All right, so with all this, is it working? Let's have a look. So I've got my user here. Yay, when I move, as you can see, I'm actually able to update the results. And if I'm adding, another user, when I'm entering the map, I'm getting the updated results. And if I move, I get the results updated. So success. Actually, I'm saying success. It's kind of not so perfect. I'm really pretty happy with this result because with very few lines of code, you are getting something that is already quite amazing. Yet, there is a slight hic. It's that we cannot track yet when someone is disconnecting. So if this user here inside vote B is disconnected, the vote is still counted because the browser does not get a chance to disconnect to send a message that the user left this area. So one of the issues is, of course, that variables are available to all the browsers, and it's kind of not that secure. So in order to fix that in the future, what we are going to do is we are going to add a notion of variables that are attached to a given player and that can be edited by only this player, and an ability to have a look at all the players on the map from a given browser. But even with this result that is still not completely perfect, you can already do really a lot of things with variable. One last thing I would like to show you is how we can enable and disable or reset this voting system. Because here you can see that, okay, we got a vote that is actually not what I really expected. So what I like to do is when I move here inside this zone, I like to open a pop-up that enables me to reset the system or maybe hide or show it. Let me show you. So the first thing is I'm going to have a look at the map. And we already, this zone here is called reset zone. So I'm going to detect when I'm entering the reset zone. Very important, I need to write the script in the right place. So not inside the results.html page, but indeed inside the correct script, the one that is starting at the start of the map. And I'm going to use an enter layer again. And when I enter inside the reset zone, what I'm going to do is, oops, sorry. When I enter the reset zone, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a pop-up. So I've got wa.ui.open pop-up, and I'm going to open the pop-up, and the target object will be here, reset pop-up. So I want the pop-up to be displayed here inside the reset pop-up object, and let's put a message. Do you want to disable the voting system? And the third parameter is an array of buttons. We will put the buttons later. First, let's just check that this is correctly working. As you can see, I'm very often testing to see if I'm doing things correctly. Yes, I managed to open the pop-up. One thing I forgot to tell you is basically you can find the list of features available in the scripting API inside the documentation. Inside build your map here, and you've got a scripting maps section here, and inside the scripting maps section there is an API reference, and the API reference is actually containing all the functions. So for instance, I've got UI functions here, and I'm currently using the wa.ui.open-pop-up that is documented here. All right? So my buttons here, I'm going to create a first button, which is going to be called, again, because I'm using TypeScript, I've got this wonderful auto-completion, which is really making life really easier. So let's have a button enable. With the class name is the design of the button. Success is going to be green, actually. And then I need a callback, and the callback will be called when I press the button. And I'm also going to display the disable button, and I'm going to put an error here. So right now, when I click on the button, nothing happens. But let's have a quick look and see if it is going as we want. I'm refreshing the page again. Here, okay. Whoa, it's not really that beautiful. My pop-up is not wide enough, but this is not that a big issue. I can actually go in tile. I'm going to select the pop-up and yeah, make it slightly wider. I'm going to save that. Yeah, okay, so now I've got my two buttons enable, disable, and it's looking better. So when I click disable, I want to hide this, and when I click enable, I want to show the voting system. Well, the easy thing would, of course, be there is a function which is called wa.room.hideLayer, and I could, when I click disable, I could very well hide the layer which is called A. So I could do something like this, and then use show layer to show the layer. And this, of course, is working. Let me show you. Or not. Oh, I would have expected that to... Wait a minute. When things are going wrong, I'm usually using the console. And wait a minute. I'm going to refresh things. Let's do it again. weird. Room. Anyone has got an idea? Well, you know what? Let's double click. And here I'm going to put, let's at least see if we can get some feedback. So let me try this again. Yes, at least I have some feedback. Oh, yes, I know, sorry. I'm hiding the layer A, but the layer A is actually containing nothing. It's just a zone here. And the layers I actually want to hide is below furniture. Okay, sorry about that. So, WA dot room dot hide layer below furniture, and this should actually work, I hope.
But this will hide all the colors actually.
Yes, which is exactly what I want to do actually. Okay, so if I click disable, it's hiding everything. Now, what I want to show you is that this is not really perfect because let's load two browsers. If you remember correctly, I told you at the beginning that maps are actually the scripting API is actually enabled locally. So if I click disable here, I'm hiding the layer for me, but I'm not hiding the layer for everyone. If I want to hide the layer for everyone, I need to go through a variable. This is really the only option I have, unless I want to connect to another service that is doing some live stuff with a WebSocket. But if I want to do it with what I have in WorkAdventure, I need to go through variables. So first thing first, I'm going to create a new variable. So I'm going to put it in the configuration layer. This way I can debug it easily. So I'm going to create here a variable. Let's call it enable vote. I need to put the type here, very important. And I need to set, let's put a default property. So it's going to be a Boolean. By default, it's going to be true. And we may want to persist it. Does not really matter actually, but hey. So now that I created my variable, I am able to access it. And so what I can do is inside the callback, I can simply put wa.state.enable vote equal true. And here, instead of showing and hiding the layer, I'm going to set enable vote equal false. Now, a very easy way to do would be to listen to variable changes. So I could do something like wa.state.onVariable change and listen to the changes inside enable vote and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you understand that. I'm going to show you another way of doing things. It's when you are using the scripting API extra, which is actually documented inside the extended features tab here, there is a possibility to bind a variable to some properties. And so basically, this means that you can use the mustache.js template, some templates to take a value of a variable and put it inside a property. Here, I'm binding the open website property to the my website URL variable. And I'm going to do exactly that inside WorkAdventure. I'm going to do on the below furniture property. And I'm going to add a special property, which is called visible. And I'm going to do some black magic. I'm going to say if enable vote is set, then you can put something like 1, which means basically show me something, and I'm closing the if, and that's it. And basically this property is saying enable visibility if the variable enable vote variable is set. And I'm going to also put this inside the furniture tab, and I think that should be enough. So let's have a look. I'm coming back here, refreshing. I'm also refreshing this page. And if I move here and I decide to disable here, I forgot the layer with ABC, but whatever. You see that the variable is set, shared automatically, and because of the template I put inside the map, applied directly, and the map is directly modified. And if I click enable again, I can enable and disable this layer of the voting system automatically. So yeah, that was pretty much it for the demo. I hope this was clear enough. I talked about a number of concepts, and I hope I did not lose too many of you. Let me go back, to yes, thank you very much. Cool. Let me go back quickly to the presentation. I've got just 3 additional slides. We have a quick demo here from Jacques Olivier, which is right here today, and Vincent, and they actually wanted to see how far they could go with the scripting API, and they managed to build actually a Pac-Man game. And I'll put the slides online so you can take a look at the demo by yourself. But basically, when you are moving inside the maze, you are actually hitting all the small pack guns and stuff like that. And this is built 100% with a scripting API. So this is really amazing. Actually, when we started designing it, I was just thinking we could maybe have some doors and it would be pretty cool. And suddenly we have a Pac-Man game going on, so I actually love it. We also have people who designed, Jonathan, who designed the Minesweeper. Still there are a lot of things we need to put inside this scripting API. We need to be able to track other players, because right now it's not possible. So if you want to do it, you need really to do some kind of hacks. This should be native, I think, with variables associated with each player. And maybe in the future, we will be able to embed some game elements. Like, I don't know, you are getting next to a computer, the computer is highlighted in yellow, you click on the computer, and the iframe opens, stuff like that. It would be really, really cool. You name it. If you've got any ideas, that would be super cool. At some point, we will also come with a server-side API that will be able to set variable values, so that, I don't know, for instance, we could take the value of the meteo of the weather forecast of the day and put it inside the variable inside the map to adapt the map to the weather that is outside. I don't know. Well, one thing is sure is that we already did a lot of work on it, but we still have a lot of work to make it really, really super cool. And this is what we are planning to do in the future. We want to keep opening WorkAdventure through the API to make it really, really extensible. And one thing that we would like to encourage is to encourage the community to build an ecosystem of libraries, just like scripting API extra. You know, the system with which displays the value of the variables is actually not coded at all inside WorkAdventure. It is a completely separate library. So anyone can do it without touching to the core of WorkAdventure. And I'm pretty sure we can have amazing libraries regarding extending the possibilities of WorkAdventure. And if we do that, I'm sure we will have the pleasure to have the community surprise us with amazing hacks. So yeah, we are going inside this direction a lot. Yeah. So thanks a lot for listening. Well, if you have any questions, now is definitely the right moment. I see Jackie who asked, how can I display text or an icon next to a related player? This should be visible for all players on a map. For example, user counter. Oh, okay. That would be awesome to have. Right now, we don't have the possibility to add something on top of a player, but in the future, certainly that would be cool. Right now, today, what you can do, it's not exactly what you are asking, but let me share my screen again. Basically, if you go inside the API reference and inside the player section, wait, nope. Where is the menu? So maybe it's hidden in UI rather. Yes. What you can do is actually add inside the user menu additional buttons. So by clicking on someone, you can tell the scripting API to display some text or another text. But we are missing some key pieces to have a text that is attached to a user. Basically, we would need to have variables that are attached to a given user and not global to a room. So this is going to come in the future. And then, of course, some more interactions would be nice. Also, something that would be super nice is the ability to change an outfit dynamically, for instance, to add a hat or something like that. We don't have that yet, but yeah, in the future, definitely. Oops, sorry. Yes. Any other question? Don't hesitate to open your microphone and talk. We are not that many, so don't be shy. Oh, how long are variables persistent? Okay. Variables are persistent. Well, it depends. If you set the persist flag to true, they are persisted forever. We are storing that inside a MongoDB database, and basically they will be there for as long as the Mongo server is up. And if you don't set the persist flag, the variable will be dropped when the last player leaves the map. There is no limit on the number of variables you can set, but you have to declare them inside the map. And regarding the size of a variable, right now we did not put any limit. It must be something that is serializable, that can be serialized to JSON. Right now we did not put any limit, but please don't abuse it, and we will adapt the settings of the server if it's getting really, really too hard. But right now, on purpose, we did not set any limits. If you're not putting gigabytes of data inside the variable, things should be all right. And Magnus, yes, if we could rename a player with a script, that would be some kind of workaround. You're right. It's possible. Right now, it's not possible to rename a player, but that would be the easiest way around, definitely. Do we have? Wait. When Felipe, you had a question. Yes, I answered that. When variables are persisted, they are indeed written inside the Redis component connected to the back. And the Redis database connected to the back is here just for this. It has no other purpose than storing the value of variables, actually. Yeah. Okay. Sasha, as I'm not a good programmer, it would be really nice if there would be a system of plugins where I use code from others. I completely agree. Most definitely. And to do that, we first need to have, some kind of contributions. So if there are programmers here listening to me, and I'm sure there are some, don't hesitate to contribute and write libraries, just like the scripting API extra. And if we have many of those, we will certainly be able to make a system enabling to easily enable a library that would be kind of easy. And also, if you are doing cool stuff with the scripting API, we do have this awesome WorkAdventure. Wait, I'm going to share my screen again. I realize I stopped sharing. Yes, we do have. Nope, that's not this one. Where? Damn it. Yeah, okay. So we do have the awesome WorkAdventure GitHub repository where you can put your own creations. We put it here for that. If you design beautiful maps, if you have tutorials, if you have fun stuff done with the scripting API, you can really put a comment here, and I'll be glad to merge the pull request and reference your work here. That would be really, really cool. Yes.
And David, can you talk a little bit about the edge cases, the limitation of the variables, and especially the question Askeron is asking at the end of the chat?
Oh, yes. Hey, excellent question. Yes, this is a limitation of the variables right now. Basically, each variable is updated atomically. So if you've got an array and you push something inside the array, the whole array will be sent back to the server and dispatched to everybody. This means it's not that clever, basically, one thing you can be sure of is that everybody will have the same value of the variable in the end, because basically when I'm sending a variable to the server, I'm dispatching it to everybody, including the person that sent the value. So it's getting the value back set again, which means you can be sure that everybody shares the same data. However, if two people are updating the same variable at a given time, one will win above the other, and one change will be lost. And especially if two people are pushing inside an array at the exact same time, well, one element will be lost. So you need to have variables that are not too big. If you design a huge object and many people are updating the variables at the same time, you are going to have problems. And now there is also a feature that is kind of important, is that you can decide with tags who is allowed to read or to write the variable. For edge cases, not for edge cases. In advanced cases, you can decide that only an administrator can edit things. Like I was showing a few minutes ago, maybe only an administrator is allowed to enable or disable the voting system. And if you want to do something that is more advanced than that, then you have to, you cannot rely on variables. What you should do then is basically in the scripting API, you can open a WebSocket connection to your own server. And inside your server, you can design whatever you want, and more advanced cases. Yes, and there are CRDTs. Yes, they are actually quite hard. It might be useful in the future. It actually crossed my mind very quickly. We can have really any kind of objects, but yes, CRDTs might be a way to go in the future for maps, lists, and stuff like that. You're right, Jan. That's true. Right now, the implementation variable is just atomic. We take the variable, we put it, and it would be really, really great to improve that in the future. Now, I also know that what we can do is kind of, in the end, limited, because all those variables are edited from the front. So at some point, if we want to do advanced things, we will probably have to add an API on the backend. And that would be ultimately the right way to do things. I mean, advanced things. But for simple tasks like what I showed, a voting system, opening, closing the doors, variables are really, really powerful and really easy to use. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.